Hey guys, welcome to another episode of 10-Minute Cooking and Cocktails. Today, we're going to make one of my all-time favorite recipes, Flautas de Pollo. Now, flautas are a type of rolled taco that you can find in Mexico and Central America, and they get their name from their shape because they're kind of flute-shaped, and flauta means flute in Spanish. Now, you can serve these as an entree, cut them into bite-sized pieces like an appetizer. They're fairly simple to make and they freeze really well. So grab your ingredients and let's get started. Now, whenever I'm working with raw poultry especially, I like to portion out all my ingredients in advance. Keeps things going a little smoothly when you start cooking, and it keeps your chicken fingers off your spice containers. For this recipe, you're going to need 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, 1 large can of diced green chilies, and 1 large diced onion. It can be yellow or white. You're also going to need 1 tablespoon each of cumin, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and black pepper, the juice of 1 lime, and then 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. Don't worry, you can cheat and use the kind in the jar. And oh yeah, you're also going to need flour tortillas. The taco size works best and they come in a pack of about 20, 2 to 3 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese, vegetable oil for frying your flautas, and then toothpicks to hold them together. And don't be afraid to cut some corners here if you're pinched on time. You can certainly use a rotisserie chicken that's already been prepared in advance. Or you can take things up a notch and use chicken thighs on the bone or chicken breasts on the bone. For me, I just use plain old chicken breasts. They've always worked pretty well, but it's really up to you what you'd like to use. Now for cooking the chicken, you're going to want to put about a tablespoon of vegetable oil in your pan over medium heat, just until it's hot. Use about 1/3 of the seasoning on each side of the chicken breasts and brown them. They won't be cooked all the way through. You just want to get them nice and golden brown on both sides. Then you're going to add in the green chilies, the minced garlic, the lime juice, and the final third of your seasonings. Bring everything up to a simmer over that medium heat. Cover it, reduce to medium-low, and then cook everything until the chicken is cooked all the way through. Probably about 25 minutes or so. Don't worry, it won't dry out with all those juices in there. So once the chicken's completely cooked, you want to set everything aside to cool, and then it's time to prepare the filling. So now, once everything is cool enough that you can touch it with your bare hands, and yes, that's right, you are going to use your bare hands. I truly believe that most of the best food is stuff where you get your hands dirty and actually get in there and prepare it by hand. But you're going to separate those chicken breasts from the juices and the chilies and the onions, and then set those aside to shred in a little bit. And then I like to take a strainer and take those chilies and all the juices and onions and strain it so that you're getting rid of a lot of the excess liquid, but you're reserving the chilies and onions and garlic and seasoning to mix back into your filling. Now, for shredding your chicken, at this point, this is where if you cook chicken on the bone or anything like that, that you would separate the bones from that chicken, pick off any pieces of fat or gristle or anything like that. I use chicken breasts, so they're pretty lean. You can see that the meat is still super juicy, and there's not a whole lot you have to pick off, but I do like to shred it by hand, make sure that everything is into little bite-sized pieces. So every bite of the flauta is going to have a delicious piece of tender chicken. You get so much flavor from fat and cooking chicken on the bone, but it's not so much delicious to take a bite of a flauta and get some gristle or fat in there. And then once you have your chicken all shredded, you're going to mix in your mozzarella. Now, you really want the ratio to be pretty much 50-50 cheese and chicken. You can kind of break down the cheese with your hands so that it's all going to mix in really well. And then once that's all, the chicken and the cheese are mixed together, you want to add back in your drained chilies and onions and seasoning. We are not adding any additional seasoning to the filling, so all that flavor is coming from what's already on the chicken and then those reserved chilies and onions that you slow cook the chicken in. So you just want to mix all of that back in. Take it slow, don't dump it all in at once because you really want to make sure you're not adding in too much moisture. You can always add in more moisture, but it's really difficult to take it out. And if your filling is too wet, it's going to tear the tortillas when you go to roll them, and then it's going to be a mess when you go to fry the flautas as well. So once you get all that added in, you want to just go ahead and give it a good mix. So once the filling's ready, it's time for the fun part, rolling the flautas. So you want to take one of your flour tortillas and you're going to put about a tablespoon of the filling right in the middle. You don't want to put too much or it's all going to fall out while it's frying, or it's going to cause the tortilla to tear. But about a tablespoon should do it. And you're going to roll one side up over, push down and pull back, and then roll the flauta up. So basically what you're doing is you're spreading the filling from one end of the flauta to the other, so you don't have any big pieces of just tortilla, but you're also rolling it nice and tight. And then you're gonna pin 2 flautas together using a toothpick at either end with the flaps folded on the inside so they're helping to hold each other together. And then you just wanna make sure you just a little bit pull them apart so that there's a little bit of space for some oil to get in, so you don't have an uncooked or unfried piece right down the side of each of those flautas on that inner part. Then you just roll them all up and stack them like Lincoln Logs until they're all ready to fry. Now it's time to fry your flautas. So you're going to want to take a pan and your vegetable oil and put that over medium-high heat until the oil gets nice and hot. You'll see it sort of shimmer, and that's when you know it's ready. And then you're just going to put your flautas in 2 sets at a time, or 4 flautas altogether. And just remember that the oil should come about halfway up the flautas. So you're not deep frying here. You're actually just sort of pan frying them, but with a little bit more oil. But you don't want the flautas to be submerged in oil. And then you're going to fry each side for just a couple minutes. And just keep in mind that as you're frying your flautas, the oil, even if you keep everything at the same temperature, is going to continue to get hotter, which means that they'll cook faster and faster as you go along. But basically it should be a couple minutes on each side until they're nice and golden brown. And then you'll notice you're going to get a bunch of little crispy pieces that start to gather in the pan. I like to strain those out with a slotted spoon as I'm going along, just to keep them from, crusting up the flautas. But once the flautas are nice and golden brown, you're going to pick them up to drain any sort of excess oil out of them. And then you're going to set them aside on a paper towel to drain. And I like to blot them as well on top, so both sides are getting some of that excess oil off. And then once they're cool enough to touch, you're going to go ahead and remove the toothpicks. Now the finished product should be a delicious pan stacked with golden brown flautas. Crispy. When you break into them, you're going to see all that cheese and chicken and chilies in every single bite. Melty, delicious, golden fried awesomeness. But if you don't believe me, let's do an official taste test and see what the husband thinks.
The filling is really good. There's just like a very light crisp on the outside of the flauta, but it's really soft and tasty. Oh my god, I just love these so much. Again, just a nice soft flauta. You get that little bit of a crisp on the outside, just very lightly fried. Goes great with the rice. This is a Spanish rice. The crema and the queso fresca just complements it very well. It's a very smooth, tasty treat. One of my favorite Mexican dish that wifey makes, so very happy.
Well, there you have it, Flautas de Pollo. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video and making the flautas as much as my husband enjoyed tasting them. For the full recipe or to learn more about the history of flautas, follow the link below to visit our website. And be sure to click the like and subscribe button so that you can catch all new 10-minute cooking and cocktail videos as we post them. And just remember, it is possible to travel and explore other cultures and history, or relive your own travel adventures just by tuning in for a 10-minute video or creating a great recipe or cocktail from your own home. Cheers, and thanks for tuning in.